What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Almost got my days confused. Hope you guys have had a great weekend, a great holiday weekend at that. In case you missed it last week, I'll say it again. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Today's the start of Kwanzaa. And of course, Happy New Year. This is the final week of 2022. That really went by quickly. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Blitz's first official podcast entitled Monday Evening Quarterback. My name is Christian Simpson and I am the creator. I'm the founder. I'm the NFL slash college football analyst, just overall football junkie and a fan of football. And I run a company. I founded a company called the Daily Blitz on September 6, 2010, where we specialize in all things football 24/7, 365. And it was a very entertaining weekend of football, to say the least. They always are. You just never know what you're going to get in the NFL. You never know who's going to win these games. However, the NFL always makes sure we're on the edge of our seats. And one thing that was a common theme amongst a lot of these games this week, the weather, frigid conditions all throughout, cold in Cleveland. I think that was the coldest game of the day. I believe it was about 4 or 5 degrees at kickoff for the Saints and Browns game, and the wind chill was negative 21, so it felt like negative 21 degrees. Frigid in Chicago, but that's to be expected. Buffalo Bills playing the Chicago Bears. We'll talk about that game and what caught my eye. Frigid in Kansas City. It was frigid everywhere. Let's just put it like that. But this playoff picture is slowly but surely beginning to form itself. You look at the AFC South right now. Let's get that out the way. Tennessee has really been struggling. They have now lost 6 games in a row. At one point, this team was 7-2. Then no, they've lost 5 in a row. They were 7-3. They have not won a game since that Thursday night contest in Green Bay against the Packers. Usually around this time, Derrick Henry is just getting started, but now, I don't know what's going on. There's been a lack of receiver help with the Titans. I mean, they made one of the more sorry, just watching my dog. They made one of the more surprising trades during the offseason. They did it on draft night when they decided to trade A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they drafted Treylon Burks, but, hasn't really been that difference maker. Titans' defense has been good. It's been their offense that's really been holding them back. A loss to the Houston Texans the other day, a team that they normally dominate. And, this losing streak looks really bad on their part because the Jaguars have been one of the hotter teams in the league, and they can win this division. They handled their business the other day against the New York Jets. Defense was just absolutely incredible. Trevor Lawrence did enough to win. The Jets, another team that was hot, struggling right now. They've lost 4 in a row. I've been reading that the Jets are probably going to move on from Zach Wilson after this year. He's had 2 years to prove himself, and he hasn't. Just seems like the kid's lost a lot of confidence within his game. Here's what I would do if I was the Jets. I keep Mike White for 1 more year, let him be your bridge quarterback, and then the following year, you try to get your quarterback of the future, your franchise guy, because the Jets need that. I think that's what's going to put them over the top. They need a guy that's going to move the needle, as I like to say, and Zach doesn't do that necessarily. I had some high hopes for him, but this year has really shown me that he still has a lot of work to do. He's probably going to get a backup job somewhere and learn. That's the only way he can learn. But Jacksonville, they are in first place right now in the AFC South. Who saw that coming? This was supposed to be the Titans division. for the taking. And wow, that's all I can say. Um, some other things, what a thrilling game in Minneapolis. And that's the thing about Minnesota. They sure have a flair for the theatrics. Won another close game over the New York Giants on a 61-yard field goal. Minnesota's 12-3, but I still don't have that confidence in them like I do, say, a Philly or a San Francisco. Really, those are the only two teams I think I trust right now in the NFC. Minnesota, I think they get a little too complacent. They feel at times they can get down early and then work themselves back into the games when it doesn't always work like that. I look at, Kirk Cousins, he's having a great year, but the guy that's really been impressing me, I just want to give him his love and his flowers right now. That's Justin Jefferson, Mr. Gritty on up himself. He's really emerged as a superstar and one of the, I think, three best wide receivers in our league right now. I mean, he was special when he was in college at LSU. He was a part of that title-winning team in Baton Rouge with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Ed Orgeron, Derek Stingley, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Just so many big names came from that school. I saw what he could do then, and he's elevated that now. Anytime you've needed him to make a big catch or anytime you've needed him to step up, he's done it. Plain and simple. Anytime your number is called in this game, you have to answer the call. That's it. That's all. That's the saying. He's done that countless times this year. Really enjoy watching him play. Broke Randy Moss's single season receiving record in 3 years. And that's a Hall of Famer we're talking about and one of the greatest Vikings ever. So anytime you could be mentioned with an icon like Randy, you've done some justice. The Vikings are 12-3 right now. They've won the NFC North right now. They're just fighting for a higher seed. And I believe right now they are the 2 seed. They could get the 1 seed. They would need Philly to lose out. Minnesota would have to win their games because the Eagles own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Vikings from beating them earlier in the year in week 2. Speaking of the Eagles, that was arguably the game of the weekend. Coming into the weekend, it definitely did not disappoint. Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys. Remember what happened last time these two played? There was no Dak. Eagles were undefeated. Cowboys were, I want to say, 4-1 at that time. Eagles won that game to remain undefeated. Both teams are different now. Defense for Dallas has regressed a little bit, and Philly has just seemed to get a little bit stronger. There was no Jalen Hurts for Philly. Jalen was out with a shoulder injury, and it looks like he won't play this upcoming week either. So Gardner Minshew was in, and Gardner brings a different element to the offense because where Jalen can help the offense with his feet and his mobility, Gardner can throw the ball over the middle and go short and intermediate, and he's very precise and very accurate with his throws at that. And it looked like Philly was going to run away with this game. They had Dallas backed into a wall, but the one thing I'll give Dak Prescott a lot of credit for, he never folded. It just seemed like he got stronger as the game went on. Dak, normally I don't like him throwing the ball that many times, but he was pretty good in this one. Looking at the stats right here. Let's see. Yeah, Dak was 27-35. Not bad. 300 247 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, one interception. He was sacked 6 times, though. That number I don't like. Dallas, I mean, the turning point of the game was the bomb, the 52-yard bomb to T.Y. Hilton. And what's the rule when you're a safety? You stay back. You don't try and come up or anything. And that's what kept that path wide open for the veteran T.Y. Hilton. He used to play for the Indianapolis Colts, in case you're wondering. The Cowboys signed him. And that's why they signed him, to provide that type of spark and that type of big play down the field. Cowboys did avenge that loss to Philly back in October by a score of 40-34. So points were really scored in this game. The Philly had won that game. They would have clinched the NFC East, and there would have been no chance for the Cowboys or any other team in the division to win the division. But now the door is open for for the Dallas Cowboys to potentially win the NFC East once again. That was a great game. I enjoyed every second of it. Then to cap things off on Saturday night, Pittsburgh Steelers, Las Vegas Raiders. This rivalry goes back. It was a very cold, as I said, weather was a factor, but emotional night in Pittsburgh. As many of you know, during the week, the world of football lost one of the more iconic figures in Franco Harris, the Hall of Fame running back, responsible for the play we now know as the Immaculate Reception. He died at the age of 72 years old on Wednesday. He was a larger-than-life personality, guy that I always saw with a smile on his face, and widely regarded as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Pittsburgh Steeler ever to play. I'd like to offer my condolences to his family, those who played with him. Penn State, where he went to school, and just those who ever came in encounter with what looked to be a very friendly man. The Steelers did win that game by a score of 13-10 to keep their slim playoff hopes alive, and Mike Tomlin still hasn't had a losing season, and it's a possibility that still might not happen. They're 7-8. They have a huge game upcoming this weekend on Sunday night against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens clinched the playoff spot. The Bengals just got by New England the other day. I just want to talk about the AFC. Who ends up getting that 1 seed? So here are the scenarios. Right now, the Buffalo Bills are in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. Okay. Kansas City is number 2. Buffalo owns the head-to-head tiebreaker over Kansas City, and Cincinnati is at number 3. Buffalo's already beat Kansas City. Cincinnati's already beat Kansas City. Buffalo and Cincinnati play each other next week. And I'm looking at this matchup. I'm looking at all 3 teams, and it's a dogfight whenever they play. I mean, Buffalo and Kansas City give each other all they can handle. Same with Cincinnati and Kansas City. And Cincinnati just always seems to present such a tough and physical challenge for the Chiefs. But I think out of all 3 teams, the Chiefs are the most dangerous because they have the best player, Patrick Mahomes. I think he wins MVP again for the 2nd time in his career. A lot of people wrote him off. No Tyreek Hill, and he's still doing the doggone thing right now. We're going to learn a lot about that. We're going to learn a lot about some things in the AFC next Monday night when Buffalo plays Cincinnati. Finally, a Monday night game worth watching, worth covering, worth looking forward to. This is going to be an interesting stretch these next couple of weeks. I want to know who you guys think will get that top seed in the AFC? Is it Buffalo? Is it Kansas City? Is it Cincinnati? So here's what has to happen. If Buffalo wins out, let's say Buffalo beats Cincinnati next week. They've already won the division. If they win out the remaining two games, because I believe they play Cincinnati, and I was just looking at their schedule. They play New England to close things up in week 18. The road to the Super Bowl in the AFC will travel through Orchard Park, New York, right? For Kansas City to win, they need Cincinnati to lose, I believe, their next two games, and then they need Buffalo to lose their next two games, and then Kansas City gets that one seed. And for Cincinnati to get that top seed, Cincinnati will have to beat Buffalo next week, and they will need Kansas City to lose just one more game. They've already owned the head-to-head tiebreaker. I know that's a lot. I'll explain it on social media, but that's the scenario right now. So going from playoff hopefuls to a team that didn't even qualify for the playoffs this year, arguably the most disappointing team in the league, and that's the Denver Broncos. Kind of saw the writing on the wall, but today they have officially relieved head coach Nathaniel Hackett of his duties. He is officially one and done. I knew it was going to be a long year for Denver, the way he coached that game in Seattle, that 64-yard field goal, taking the game out your quarterback's hands. It was one of the best in the league. Everybody wants to blame Russ for the struggles, and yeah, he has something to do with it, but there's coaching. The offensive line has been really bad. They haven't really been healthy, if you think about it. I think they've had so many different offensive line starting groups and never really could stick to one. I think Denver entered the year with a lot of hope. Kind of felt like 2012, I said during the offseason, the day when they acquired Russell, because Denver hasn't really had anything consistent at quarterback since Peyton Manning retired. Russell been successful in Seattle. First year in the AFC, he struggled. Don't know who could get that job. Maybe Sean Payton, maybe Eric Bieniemy, but they need somebody. They need somebody who can come in and fix things up there, because that's an organization that's been a mess. They haven't made the playoffs since winning the Super Bowl to the Carolina Panthers, Super Bowl 50 in 2016. Yeah, just a really disappointing year. I also want to know, who do you think was the bigger disappointment? Was it the Denver Broncos, or was it the Indianapolis Colts? Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Got that out the way. Last night, Tampa Bay, they escaped Arizona in a close, hard-hitting game. Arizona gave them all they can handle, and J.J. Watt was kind of looking like vintage J.J. Watt, but Tom Brady will be Tom Brady. Both divisions in the South, the AFC and the NFC South, just been so bad. We could see two teams potentially get to the playoffs with losing records. Don't like it, but that's the way the game is played, unfortunately. How about the Green Bay Packers? Switching gears here. They were 4-8 at one point. It looked like everything was just done with them. I threw the towel in on them, but I'll never count Aaron Rodgers out. It's been a different year for him. And if Green Bay had played the way they played now, earlier in the year, who knows where they'd be. Remember what I said, build this offense around Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Take a little bit of pressure off Aaron Rodgers, because he's still not on the same page with those young receivers, but he's developed a lot of trust and chemistry with the rookie, Christian Watson. And it's been that trio, A.J., Christian, and Aaron. Aaron Jones, that is. That's really been carrying this offense. Packers won yesterday by a score of 26-20. Rodgers just kind of had to control things yesterday. And it was cold there, too, in Miami. About 46 degrees. That's cold for Florida. Miami is slipping right now. They don't look like the same team they did earlier in the year. Rodgers was 24 of 38, 238 yards passing, one touchdown, one interception. Alan Lazard was the leading receiver, 61 yards. Miami, their running game, where's it going? Raheem Mostert was stuffed. And that was the thing I thought the Dolphins would try to exploit yesterday because Green Bay is pretty bad when it comes to running the football. Green Bay now has a huge game. They're still in the thick of things, and until they lose, they're going to be in a race. If they lose one of these final two games, they're done. They play Minnesota next week, and that should be interesting. Remember what happened the last time those two teams played. To be honest, that was the most complete game of Minnesota's season because they put Green Bay away early and didn't let them climb back into the game. Who knows what would have happened? They continue to play like this the rest of the way. Tampa Bay could win the NFC South next week. And while I'm here, I might as well because I'm gonna talk about the college football playoff very shortly. Monday Night Football tonight. The Los Angeles Chargers, with a win, will be a playoff team against the Indianapolis Colts. And both these teams are just headed in different directions right now. The Colts have been such a disaster this year. I can't wait to see what they do during the offseason. They're one of my intriguing storylines. There are three of them that I have. The Colts, the Broncos, and the Los Angeles Rams. Like, what do those three do? I believe the Chargers will win this game. Say they win this game by a score 23-13. Just think that offense is going to be too much for the Indy defense. A couple of Phillip Rivers, former teams going at it. Justin Herbert should have a big game in the air tonight, and I think we'll see a lot of Austin Eckler in this one. It's the second to last Monday Night Football game of the year. And with that being said, that's all I have for the NFL. Oh, game ball. Excuse me, I almost forgot. Deontay Foreman, running back of the Carolina Panthers, 21 carries, 165 yards rushing, and one touchdown, and a big win over the Detroit Lions, who have really been rolling their own. That being said, let's talk a little college. It's college football playoff week. In case you guys forgot, here are the four teams that will be competing for a chance to get to California for the national championship game. Georgia is your one seed, which I think all of us expected. May not be the same team that they were last year, but they've been consistent. I know their defense isn't what it was last season, but they still make stops when they have to. And their offense is sneaky good. That's one side of the ball that really doesn't get a lot of credit and a lot of attention. Number two, the Michigan Wolverines believe they're playing their best football of the year. Best football when it matters right now. You saw what they did against Ohio State, handled their business against Purdue. Once they won the Big Ten championship, you knew that they were locked into that 2 seed. Number three, the TCU Horned Frogs. They will be making their college football playoff debut, and they become the first school from the state of Texas to be featured in the CFP. Love that offense led by Max Duggan, Kendre Miller, Quentin Johnston, Tay Barber. They have playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, such as Hodges Tomlinson, who is actually the nephew of Pro Football Hall of Famer and TCU alum, LaDainian Tomlinson. Kind of comparing and contrasting styles of football between TCU and Michigan. TCU likes to run and gun it. They can get yards at any given time, and they can run the football. They can move the ball down the field. So I just want to see how Michigan's going to come out and come after Max Duggan, who was a Heisman candidate. And then the fourth seed, they snuck in the Ohio State Buckeyes. So the matchups will be Ohio State will play Georgia in the Peach Bowl, and um, Michigan will host TCU in the Fiesta Bowl. Cannot wait to get my hands on both of those. So we do a little early preview right now. Like I said about Michigan playing their best football when it matters most. The thing I like is they stick within their box. And J.J. McCarthy, he moves that needle. I don't think K. McNamara, no disrespect or anything, would move that needle like that. TCU, Sonny Dykes has really come in and changed the dynamic of that entire program. They believe. And I know they struggled quite a bit in that Big 12 title game, but they almost fought back. This is a team that just doesn't give up. I preview this one on Thursday on the site. So, no, on Friday on the site. So be on the lookout for that. And then the other game, this is a matchup I've been wanting to see. Ohio State, Georgia. Something's got to give, right? Because Ohio State has one of the three best offenses in the country. They rack up about 500 yards per game in their sleep. Georgia has the ninth ranked defense in the nation, and they give up under 300 yards. So somebody's got to win this one. Just can't wait to see this Ohio State offense go up against the Georgia defense. I've been saying throughout the year it takes a strong defensive line to beat Ohio State. You got to pressure Stroud. You got to take away Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is the best wide receiver in the National Football League. He's pro ready, just like his daddy, stunting like his daddy. And I look at Ohio State's defense. They're much improved, but they're gonna have their hands full because Georgia has two tight ends you got to worry about: Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington. Want to know who you guys have getting to LA for the Natty? Is it Michigan? Is it Georgia? Is it TCU? Is it Ohio State? I'm not going to tell you because if I tell you, you'll know what to expect when I preview the game. It's going to be a fun weekend of football. Man, I love this time of the year. With that being said, I'm going to wrap up the show now, guys. Thank you. This is the final episode of Monday Evening Quarterback for 2022. Thank you guys for always tuning in and supporting. As always, huge shout out to my family, my amazing mom, who I love so much, my dad, who's always in my corner, my sister, Taylor, who's doing some big things of her own right now. She just had a birthday about a week ago, December 17th. Me and my sister and I are 8 years and 4 days apart, and there's nobody else I would rather share my birthday week with. My other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, love you guys so very much. Some of my closest friends, Josh, Corey, Deshaun, Robert Butler, Kamel Fryer, Jason Tyree, Candace Carter, Rob Carter, Alex Bennett, Mike Griffith, Coach, Mr. Cole Johnson, that is, our moderator D, and so many of you. If I forgot you, just know it has nothing to do. I didn't forget you. Just that's a lot of people, but that doesn't mean I don't care about you, nonetheless. How can you keep up with me? Log on to the website, thedailyblitz.blog, enter your email address, become a subscriber today. I'm having some difficulties with Facebook, but I hope to have it back up very soon. Follow us on Twitter at thedailyblitz_61. Follow us on Instagram at thedailyblitz_61. Keep up with me through the airwaves every Monday night, Monday Evening Quarterback. Right after that, every Monday night and every Tuesday night, catch me on the Prime on Prime Sports World with David Hoffman, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins, and Matt James. Every Wednesday, catch me on the Nerd Zone with Ronnie Coombs, John Danzo, Christopher Lawrence, and Ryan Shaw. Every Friday, catch me on College Football Showdown with Israel Rivera, and we'll have a lot to discuss this upcoming Friday with college football playoff Saturday, knocking at the door, and then every Saturday, what's on tap, my YouTube pregame show. Got 2 new episodes coming to you next week. Every Sunday, what's on tap, and then you can also catch me on WCPT 8:20 a.m. in Chicago, Illinois, with Michelangelo Mercado, Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, and Paul Shivari. The name of the show is called The Sports Cubicle, and if you need links to tune in to any of those shows, let me know, and I will gladly get it to you. Guys, I'm off to go through the Prime right now. I will see you very soon. Keep sending me your football questions. Email me, c.simpson at thedailyblitz.blog. I will see you guys shortly. About to go do the Prime right now.